welcome back to TEW 2016, The Branding Solution, and we are here on Smackdown after the Payback pay-per-view, where Sasha Banks retained her title over Natalya, and we got to see the end of a lot of rivalries and the start of a lot more, and I feel this show is the beginning of the next level, or the next direction we're going. All the rivalries that had been going on, only one is going to continue. The rest are pretty much all fresh, so we're going to go and see which direction they all go in. And we start the show with the pre-show when the Jet Set win a pre-show match, just to give them a bit of motivation. We then have Ludaka picking up a victory, and we see she is improving in performance again. We move on to a 4-on-4, where we gave Aaliyah, Tapa, Kaylee Ray, and Ilizu Velez a victory in a 4-on-4. They were just facing NXT talents, but we can see Aaliyah is really starting to come on leaps and bounds. We then gave Eva Marie a victory on the pre-show. Yes, we did do this. Eva Marie got a win. The newly crowned #1 contenders for the Tag Team Championship, the Heartbreak Express, get a victory. So I'm just trying to boost them up to, I'm hoping, at least 55 to 60 before that pay-per-view match. So yeah, we're going to start building them a bit more. And then we have Natalya picking up a victory over Stacey Frazier. It's just about sticking around longer than we thought. Find out more about that later. The Forgotten Generation, picked up a win over G-Next. It's the fourth time they keep facing each other. I just wanted to give the Forgotten Generation a little win off camera, so I'm not too bothered about the low rating. It's not the most devastating thing we've had. And pre-show main event, Mickie James beat Ashley Lane. I will say that not all the storylines are officially starting up on the show. I think that's the best way to put it. Charlotte did get injured and is out for a couple of weeks, so I cannot use her even in angles to start her rivalry with who I'm going to put her against. And there's a couple of others that just aren't starting because I need to start other storylines using them. So we're going to start the show with Sasha Banks coming out, announcing again that she has retained that title. She is still your women's champion. And just like at Mania, at Royal Rumble, at Breakdown, at Unstoppable, she has beaten everybody put in her path. Everybody. And that brings out Becky and Paige, who both state their claim that they have never actually lost in a title match to Sasha. And then Nikki and Alexa both come out and say, you two couldn't even beat us last night. Why should you get a women's championship match? One of us should get it. And then Edge comes out and he books the 4-on-4 for tonight's main event. So we're going to have, well, not 4-on-4, the Fatal 4-Way between Becky, Paige, Nikki and Alexa. We got better improving from Nikki, better improved in performance skills in a talking segment. So we're going to have one of these face Sasha at the next pay-per-view. We then continue our Nikki cross-pushing, where she literally just squashed a local jobber, another Nikki, still. As I said, I'm just going to probably keep her in squash matches against jobbers rather than developmental talent too, just because I want to really start a bit of a monster push eventually for her. We get a video package showing us the New Nightmares and Forgotten Generation costing each other matches last night. I was hoping that would do something for the storyline, but it didn't. But then we have the New Nightmares beating SAS. both of these two were the losing teams in the qualifying for the number 1 contenders tag team titles match. I made sure they both didn't get pinned, or I definitely know they didn't get pinned. I don't think it was them. I think I went with Ruby Riott. So. And afterwards, the Forgotten Generation cut themselves a promo on the Midnight, saying, "Oh, you've been here like, what, 2 months? And you think you're ready to face us? There's a reason why we were the longest reigning women's tag team champions. We never got pinned without a distraction. We are always going to be ready to reclaim our throne in the tag team titles, and we're going to end this Midnight at Backlash." I think it's Backlash. I can't really look because it was going to ruin other segments. But at the next pay-per-view. Actually, it's Extreme Rules. So they're going to face New Nightmare at Extreme Rules. We then gave Naomi a victory over Dana Brooke. It's nothing fancy, I just wanted to give Naomi a win. Now here's the next part of the big storyline. Natalya comes to the ring with, I wanted to put her whole crew, but I just slapped in Tessa Blanchard and Tsukushi. And basically they ask, she calls out Gail Kim and says, "Why have you attacked me?" Well, Gail Kim came back from an injury and turned on Natalya, costing her the women's title match, standing over her. Gail Kim comes out and says, "You thought you had picked yourself 5 rookies, or 5 or 6 rookies, to prove that they deserve to be on the main roster. Well, if you could do it, I can do it." And you see Tsukushi walk off and join Gail Kim. The main reason for that is because I accidentally set her as a heel, and I feel Gail Kim's going to have the heel group, including Kaylee Ray, Lutapa, Ali, Makoto, and it's going to have Dana Brooke in as well. And Natalya's keeping her faces, so it's going to be like Tessa, Demi, Erin Knight, Ludako, and Nana. And Dana Brooke may be in it, I haven't quite decided. These are slightly more experienced. But the idea is Gail Kim and Natalya are leading both of these into battle against each other for the next, I want to say, months. I'm hoping their skills can rub off on the rest. And we jump into a tag team match for this, where we gave Makoto and Tsukushi a victory. Yeah, they are the weak links on Natalya's group anyway, so I thought it was fair to go with those two, probably slightly more over than we think. So yeah, not the greatest of matches, but what it needed to do. Ember Moon then cuts another promo, another sort of challenge type promo, and Emma answers it. So Emma heads to the ring to face Ember Moon. And in a good match. Oh god, now she's injured. That's not good. So she's not bad either. Ember Moon defeats Emma in a 74 rated match. I can't even pronounce that sprain, but it wasn't Ember's fault. That's the important thing. We then cut to Nia Jax walking to the ring, talking about how she destroyed Bayley last night. Basically, Bayley won by DQ after Nia put her through a table, and then put her through another table. So Nia Jax just made sure Bayley wasn't going to be walking into the show. And then Nia Jax gets a nice little squash victory over Joyce O'Brien. Nothing fancy, did what it needed to do. And we then have a little in-ring segment where we have Candice and Brooke talking about what an opportunity it is to go for the tag titles, and Angel and Cheryl coming down, trying to put them down. You're saying, "You call yourselves the Heartbreak Express? Please, love. You know Heartbreakers. We're the Heartbreakers, and we're going to break your heart when we retain these tag team titles at Extreme Rules." And we head backstage and we see Carmella and Levy Bates talking. Levy challenges Carmella to another match for that debut title, and Carmella says, "Well, first find yourself a teammate." and I'll bring myself a teammate. And if you beat us, you can have another title match. So that's built up a match for next week. It's kind of meant to be a surprise who the partners are, so we won't be talking about that until next week. We then have Evie beat Cameron. It's a nice simple match really here. Just wanted to keep Evie moving forward, but Summer Rae comes out and attacks Evie, and she's shouting at her saying, "You think you're so special? You think you're going to try and take my spotlight? You're never going to take my spotlight, girl. This is my time to shine." So we're trying to do a whole jealousy sort of angle where we're trying to book Evie, Nikki Cross, and a few others strong. We have to eventually book them against the bigger names. So I'm pulling the trigger on Evie before the Nikki Cross to go against Summer Rae, and I'm using the jealousy angle. And we had Lo Sharu picking up a victory over Kimberly. Trying to turn the... Didn't work calming the crowd, but never mind. In the next segment, Edge comes out and announces... I put a slight twist on what I had already done. I'm doing this on all the shows eventually. But we're going to start this next week. Edge says, we're going to start the official Queen of the Ring tournament. And we're going to have every active member of the roster randomly drawn into groups. And we're going to find out who's going to be the next, or the very first, Smackdown Queen of the Ring. Sasha comes out and says, really? You want to have a tournament to see who the best is? Does this belt not tell you that I'm the best? Do I even need to wait and go through the groups? Should I just not beat the winner down to take that title that should be mine? And Edge responds saying, well, you should be careful what you wish for, Sasha, because your match is going to happen in the main event of next week on Raw, and your opponent is somebody who has pushed you to the limit. So, I know who the opponent is. I did randomly draw this, and somehow Sasha Banks is facing a main event opponent in the first round. And I just couldn't... Some of the draws I had were completely random. Like all three shows, SmackDown and Raw, both have 65 active people, which works quite well because you just throw in one triple threat match. Shockwave is a lot more complicated because there's a lot of buys in the first rounds. So, but to main event next week, we're going to have Sasha Banks face her opponent who puts the most up against her. And we are going to leave that as a surprise until next week. So sorry to disappoint. And in a main event, I was hoping I could set it up to have Becky and Paige basically having their submissions on Alexa and Nikki Bella. And they're both tapping out, and there's two referees, and they both get announced the winners. So Becky and Paige, it's meant to say Becky and Paige win this match. I didn't read how you could book two winners like this. So after the match, we sort of have them both looking around saying who's the champ, who's facing the champ. And Edge comes out and says Sasha Banks will face Becky Lynch and Paige for the women's title at Extreme Rules. Now the main reason for this was I was going to pull the trigger on just Becky Lynch, but apparently they have no chemistry, Sasha and Becky, so I'm going to put Paige in there because I didn't really have much planned for Paige. And it also means I can go either way. If I feel Paige is better than Becky, I can go with Paige and Sasha. I can go Sasha and Paige, Paige and Becky. You never know. We've got a few more dynamics into the main event picture. That main event has probably cost us a lot of rating points. Let's So we got a 73, okay. As long as it's above a 70, I'm happy enough. The matches weren't exactly brilliant on this show. I think somehow Ember Moon and Emma put on the best match tonight. So yeah, that's a good thing to see someone else stepping up to the plate when something goes slightly wrong. Yeah, so we'll head back to the main screen and see if we can look at any news. And we are back to the main screen, and we still make the top story, which is good enough for me. My spoiler hasn't been revealed in here, but apparently Ashley Lane is hot property, which is interesting to learn. We are going to just see how bad Emma's injury is, because that isn't a good thing to have. She's going to work through the 2-month injury, so we may have her on promo duties for a few months. And that works for what storyline I had her placed into. The thing is, I don't really want to go too in-depth to these storylines. Bailey rebranding we know, so I'm going to put Emma into that. So what we can do is kind of have Emma mock Bailey. That will happen with Nia Jax. The Evie storyline we know. I'm not showing you who's in Charlotte rebranded or Nikki's return to form. The tag titles is fine, and this main event picture's fine, and the Midnights are fine. The debut titles I can't go into, but this is going to be quite a big one. It's going to probably be a bit like what my cruiserweights are. It's just trying to push them a little bit. I'm not going to show the Intercontinental because I forgot to put anything involved in that on the show. Actually, we will look, so it's probably killed it. No. At the moment, I'm toying with Alexa Bliss and Alicia Fox being 2 contenders for that match. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I'm just trying to think of someone new for Asuka to face, because after Charlotte, it's not many options left unless I make her drop the title when a triple threat does happen that way. But we'll see. In the creative side of things, we can see who's hot. We've got Alexa and Nia Jax on there. And who is not? We have my 3 usuals. My new challenge is to try and get all 3 off there. And that is everything for the Smackdown show. We will be starting that pay-per-view, the Queen of the Ring tournament next week. The idea is I want it to go very long term. It's just so you can have some random matches booked. All 3 brands have been drawn, but I just want to keep things a little bit fresher, and I think this is the best way to do things. So we're going to end this show here, start that next time, and we'll be back with Shockwave. Thank you for watching.